Start that. What I want to do this morning is I'm going to play a video. And the video is about 15 minutes, which may seem long, but I really want, if you have blocked this time for yourself, this 1 hour, to really lean in, and I'm going to invite you to participate because it's going to require a little participation, but you can do it sitting or standing right where you are. And I want you to suspend your judgment, if you will, to not participate, or your self-consciousness to not participate. It's real easy. We're just going to do some breathing, but again, really just focusing on yourself. And I'm going to share the screen, and we're going to play that for 15 minutes, and then we're going to talk about that, and we have some more to go through that. This is not just an hour of feel good or rah-rah. Okay, that's not what this is about at all. Actually, this is very intentional, surrounding your entire life and your mindset, but also with respect to your real estate. And we're going to talk more about that. Is everybody good with that? Can you give me a thumbs up? Sweet. Okay. I see you all on here too without your videos on, which is fine. I'm glad you're here. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Make sure you can, I'm sure your audio's on, and we'll be right back. Here we go. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, sir. Keep flat on the ground, back straight. You're comfortable, nothing on your lap. And we're going to start by 3 sets of 10 breathing. Close your eyes, hands come up. Here we go. Stop. Hands flat on the ground. Up. Just notice what you feel. Notice the tingling in your body. You can relax. A sense of peace. Notice what you feel. Appreciate it. Little things. All right, guys, stay close. 3 more sets of 10. Here we go. Just notice what you feel. Three more sets of 10. Eyes closed. Here we go. Breathe hard out the nose. Up, down. Stop. Hands up. Now it's time to give ourselves 3 gifts. 3 moments of our life we can feel grateful for one at a time. And relive them. Feel the beauty of it, the joy, the gratitude. Think of a moment now that you can be grateful for. A little moment or a big moment. Could be years ago, could have been today, could have been weeks ago. Step into a moment you truly can feel grateful for. That's it. Step in your body as if you were there. See what you saw then now. Hear what you heard then now. That's it. you're feeling, just fill up with the gratitude of that moment. Really breathe. That's so good. You might even have an inner smile that may show up on your face. You never know. Take it in. It's so good. Make yourself good. Look at the second moment now. You feel deeply grateful for it. Step into that moment. A little moment, big one, but anything you feel really grateful. Experience what is happening right now. I'm so grateful for that blessing of that immediately. Look at the third moment now. You could feel so grateful for if you really wanted to now. Special moment. See what you saw, what you hear what you heard, what someone said to you, what you said to yourself. Breathe and feel the way you're feeling then now. Fill up with the gratitude. Give yourself the blessing. That's it. Smile. Release it back into the sky. There again, that energy. All the way down to the light ground. That's part of the stronger, alive, love, joy, gratitude. Take that out. That's part of your courage, your love, your passion. All the way out again. Down the head, neck, chest, shoulders, stomach, legs, feet, ground, the center of the earth, coming back up the legs, chest, up the top of the head. One more, do one more. Good. Now bring it down into your heart. This time send it like a circle out. Pour it into those you love most. Feel them healing. Their mind, their body, their emotions, their fears, their anger is healed. The best part of them being strengthened, their love, their courage, their compassion, their joy. You feel it fills them up, and you see the light fill them up, and you see them smile and feel their joy. Now the circle expand, bring it back down through your heart again, and then send it out through it, family, friends, partners, co-workers, strangers that are lit up by you sending energy into their family. Bring it down again. Your whole body again, all the way through your legs, through the earth. Back up again. Another one from the top through you, healing your mind, your body, your emotions, cleansing and strengthening. Best parts of you, your passion, your love, your determination, joy. Bring it back out again. Bring it to your heart. Send it again to those you love, those you know. Begin to love them. You strengthen them. They don't even know it. It's so good to give to them. See them feel joy. See them heal. You get the joy that you can give to them. One more time, move your whole body, yourself, into the earth, and back up through this thing. The best parts of it. Real. Third step in mind. Real thrive. Three outcomes, three goals. No longer goals. You're going to experience them as done. You're going to celebrate the victory. See it, feel like it's done, and give you thanks, gratitude that it's happening to yourself. You know, it's happening to the universe, to God. Start with one, step in like it's already happened. You feel the excitement, the joy in you. It's celebrating. It's done. Taking the whole picture. Feeling. Thanks for it. It's done. It's happening. Living. It's not a dream. It's living. Second victory now, second goal or outcome is no longer a goal. You're experiencing it as done. Full of excitement and gratitude. You're celebrating that it's done. You made it happen, whatever it was. It's a different goal you want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months, 3 weeks. That's the beginning. It's something that will be great victory. You're not wondering, you're not hoping, you're not asking. It is done. You're celebrating gratitude, joy. One more. Third to thrive. Third outcome, goal, result. And now it's a result. You've done it. You're in it, celebrating the victory as it's happening. You see the impact of yourself and others out there for it. You're so grateful for it all that it's done, that it finally happened, and you made it happen. You're guided to make it happen. You did your part, and you're guided. You know how great it is when you're in rise close, reach up with the right hand and grab any moment in your life you're proud of. Any moment, a little moment you're proud of. Or a big moment. Bring it in your heart as it touches your heart. Yes. Feel it explode in your heart like you're there at that proud moment once again. And connect to the things you're grateful for. For all of them. Think of another moment in your life you feel proud about, a little moment like it. Proud moment. Grab it, bring it in, and touch your heart and say, yes. Feel it stacking on all the other great moments you've already put in your heart today. Waiting in your heart, they're already there. Think of a moment of love, romance, sexuality. Your past, grab a great moment, bring that in your heart and shout yes inside. Feel it, enjoy it. Think of a future moment, romance, sexuality that will come. Future moment. That would be so exciting for you. Grab that future moment. Intimacy and joy or love. Bring that in your heart and say yes. Feel it explode in your heart with all this beauty, all this joy, all this love, all this excitement. Yes. Time is coming. Think of an exciting moment in your life that's already happened. The moment was really exciting. Grab that moment and relive it in your heart and say yes if it touches your heart and feel it. Step in and feel the excitement of that moment all over again. Enjoy it. Grab a sacred moment for your life, a sacred moment. A moment from guided. A moment beyond on your mind. Bring that moment in your heart and say yes. You have another exciting moment for your future, one that's coming that's going to lift you, excite you, make you feel so alive. Bring it and touch your heart and say yes.
Yes.
Now you have 20 seconds to get any moments in the past and the future. Proud moments, sexy moments, loving moments, sacred moments, laughter moments. Any moment in the past and future. Bring them in as fast as you want, as fast as you can. Say yes each time it gets there. Go. Stack them all together. Now just feel them all. Feel them all in your heart, your soul, your spirit, all at once. What if life was always happening for you and not to you? It looks like it's happening to you, but it's all happening for you. What if even the pain and problems were gifts? You found the meaning and you're free of the pain. Even if today was a difficult day in your life, yesterday or days before, weeks or months before, today is more compelling. Tomorrow, because of this today, will live in your magnificent work. Find yourself opening your eyes when you're ready, rising up, stretching slowly when you're ready. Start to feel the energy you build up, the energy of all these experiences, the joy, the happiness, the love, the excitement. Bring it into your heart. Feel it. Breathe it. Experience it. Own it. It's in you, as you. This is the real you. This is your true nature. Unencumbered by the survival mind. Free to be you. Free to be the real you. Breathe it. Feel its joy. Feel its love. Feel its excitement. Feel its unlimited nature. This is your spirit. This is your soul. This is you unleashed.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that was intense. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing and being a part of that. Let me make sure that's not going to start here. I will share that that link for you all if you'd like to experience that or share that. Maria, I can't hear you if you want to unmute yourself. I want to give everybody a chance to share what if you'd be open to, and certainly you don't have to, but if you'd be open to sharing what you experienced through that, be it, I don't even want to lead you there, just tell me maybe you'd like to share with the group what you experienced through that exercise. And everyone is muted, so you will need to unmute yourself. And again, that's completely voluntary. Yeah, Andrea.
I feel like it's just a really great experience to have like that kind of just joy and happiness, and it just puts you in a different place, you know, like having a lot of memories and a lot of good things, and it makes you aware, I guess, of things that you don't concentrate on daily, and it puts you in a good place.
Thank you. Was there anything in particular that came up for you that or memory or something that in the future that you were envisioning has already happened you'd be open to share?
Just a lot of different things. You know,
Yeah.
I think about just a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
A lot of good memories.
Yeah. I apologize for that beeping. I'll have to figure out what ding or notification that is. I apologize. Anything else? I apologize about that. I saw Amani, you said the video was choppy and the audio not clear. I'll have to look into that. That was probably certainly distracting from the intent of the exercise, so my apologies.
Yeah, it definitely was not as like you had planned, I'm sure, but you kind of had to go with it a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
just reading
Like,
the thing, keeping your eyes closed and then trying to read. But it was good.
yeah.
If
Well,
you,
again,
hey Ted, sorry, if you can watch it again sometime on your own time, and you actually don't have to have your eyes open at all. It's actually better if you just kind of go internal and have your own experience. And it is hard, like it was choppy in the video. I mean, the audio was hard to hear, and it does distract from that kind of intense thing. So listen to it again sometime, because Andrea, what you were saying is exactly the point of the whole thing. Like you stack all those feelings and it completely changes how you're looking at your world. And then you operate differently. Kind of amazing.
yeah, it is amazing. I found that too, that the audio, it's a little hard to hear. I had to listen closely because the music is quite strong and powerful, and so, or louder than the audio. So um, watching it on your own, I think you'll be able to feel it, and you may feel a little less, I know sometimes it can be different to physically express yourself that way amongst a group, maybe of colleagues and certainly strangers when you're in that room as Tony does those exercises. I know many friends that are huge followers of Tony Robbins, and I appreciate a lot of the work that he's done. Tremendous respect. I sometimes still have my self-conscious person judging myself for the exercises, that it's negatively, right? Rather than if I just look at it for its true sense of what it is, it's like, there's a lot of truth to this. This stuff really does work, whether we believe it, whether it's of Tony Robbins or whomever it is. It's just, it's scientifically and physiologically proven. I mean, there's no denying that that the power of moving the body and telling it and priming it to do certain things, how it impacts your physiological space. And space, I mean, of course, mentally. Any emotions, anything emotional come up for anyone, or feel any emotional pieces to that?
So can I invite Sylvia to respond, because she said something in the chat?
Yes.
And Sylvia, if I'm putting you on the spot, just ignore me. But I think when people share this stuff, and you don't have to turn on your video or anything, but I think when people share this stuff, then it helps other people share what they're thinking about or feeling too, and it makes for a richer experience. Okay, Sylvia's blown me off.
She may not be in place to share, but what are some things, if anybody be open to share, what are some things that that you're manifesting or wanting to manifest, that you visioned attracting or bringing in, that have already happened but they haven't? Would anybody be open to sharing? Some call them goals or desires, or welcome, Stacy. I'll share. So I one of the things that I'm trying, or I'm trying to attract into my life is health and fitness. And so I one of the things that I pulled from is that I'm proud of is that I quit smoking in January or February. And I had an enormous amount of shame around smoking. I have smoked for 20 years or more, and it's shameful to even admit that, but it took a bit of a health scare that thankfully is fine to have me do that, and I did it the same day they said, you've got spots on your chest that we need to look into. And I use smoking as a go-to, as a thing, right? For my joy and sadness and anxiety and blah, blah, blah. And I've quit. I've quit since January or February. I have the date. I can't remember if it is January or February, but it's been, I think, 7 months or something, 6 months. I'm shocked. In some ways, I thought I would never quit, even though I really wanted to quit. But with that came, combine that with COVID and just probably less than great habits is I've gained weight. I've gained a lot of weight. And so that is something that I was pulling from as he was guiding to, as though it's already happened. What does it feel like when I weigh X, or when I feel and am fit and in a routine that it feels X? And I was really kind of leaning a lot into that, as though that already happened. And even though that can feel sometimes like just a dream, I know that that's a big part of the exercise, right? Is just letting my body feel as though that's already occurred. And Sylvia.
So I just want to piggyback on that. That last thing you said about you want to feel like you're already fit and let your body feel like what that is. That's kind of what we're talking about with some of the priming, and it's that feelings have a physiology to them. They're actually biochemical, like there's a biochemical reaction when you feel one way versus another way. And you know that when you take the real obvious extremes of what does your body feel like when you're like raging angry, and what does your body feel like when you're like, you know, ecstatic joy. Like they're two totally different feelings in your body. And so there is something to, you know, that exercise we did in that previous mindset session about we made everybody smile for 60 seconds. And the crazy thing about that is by smiling, you can make yourself happy, because when you take on the physiology of happiness, you get happy. Like it sounds crazy, but that's the whole thing. So what you were just saying is like you take on that physiology and that's how you feel. And if that's how you feel, that's how you are in the world. You're being that. And if you're being that, then the world responds to you like you're that. And that's kind of the whole point of this priming and kind of internalizing the part where physiology is what drives your thinking and drives your feelings and drives your psychology. And then all those things combine to drive your decision making. And then your whole life is a result of all the choices you've made. Hence why I call it math. But yeah, there's something to it. You can totally reverse engineer it, and it seems silly. And you know, maybe we should have told everybody to turn off their cameras to do this thing, you know, and then everybody would have followed along. And you can you can have the same experience at home where you just do it on your own, and you will be really amazed by how you feel. Like exponentially more so than listening to a choppy video here.
Yes. Sylvia, you want?
Hello.
Hello.
Do I have good bozo hair? I changed to my phone.
It looks great. You look great. You're great. We're glad
I have a monitor that keeps me incognito on my desk computer, so I have a headphone here. Anyways, yeah, this was great, and it, you know, the comments from the sales meeting this morning about commitment versus interest, and then just sort of getting focused. And this exercise to me is focus. And I miss taking yoga. You know, I take walks instead every day, long walks. But yoga, the controlling the breath and sort of focusing on your thoughts and good energy and not letting, you know, squirrels come in and distract you. It was kind of reminding me of I have to have a commitment to have time for this type of exercise, which would be meditation or whatever, every single day, beyond the walking, because the thoughts of memories of joy and family and accomplishments, I have more of those in the future, and it really, it just, it really, it focuses the word that I would come up, because it can make it easier for me to have the commitment as opposed to just the interest, to really sort of follow through by having this one moment of clarity. I don't know if that, anyways, that's what it did for me.
I love it.
More to say. So Sylvia, your thing about focus, that's really interesting that you bring that up, because there's a lot of science that says it's kind of a triad which creates your emotional state, and that's physiology and focus and language, because language is another manifesting thing. Like, you kind of speak your world into existence, and that's why we talked last week about complaining and that sort of thing. It's like, if you keep creating that negative track, you're literally creating a negative physical track in your body that makes it, I describe it like it's a rut in the road. You're making a rut in the road, and after a while, there's no way you can drive the road without falling in the rut. And so, we tend to, I don't know, maybe this is a societal thing, but we tend to talk about problems and the negative stuff, from how shitty the weather is and the traffic sucked and could you believe this person did this thing or that thing or whatever. And it's kind of a societal conversation. And so people tend to keep falling into that. In that piece about focus, if you can focus and it takes some willpower in some ways, like if you can focus your brain to resist taking that rut road and trying to create a new positive one, the more you do that, the more of that you'll get. So that focus piece with your physiology is for sure a piece of getting to where we're all talking about getting to.
Or you could be like Hunter and talk about the Dark Ages and the bubonic plague, but have this beautiful smile in your eyes while you're about to say, but it could be worse. I'm just kidding.
I'm not even sure what that combination, where that takes you. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I think the perspective is helpful, but yeah, he's still positive about it, but maybe it's because he can be,
I think it's making lemonade, that is, because there's always, whether it's COVID or something else, there's all kinds of stuff that's outside of our control. But through, what you're talking about, your internal focus and setting up your internal conversation, you can control how, you make ripples in the pond,
100%. Do you know that, how everybody says it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it?
Absolutely.
And so the implication is it's about your choices, right? And it's not what happens to you, because life happens to everyone. And people with similar circumstances who have very different outcomes because of how they decide to look at it. And so that choice piece is within your control. And I think the priming conversation is so interesting because the science behind it is really simple. It's like, if you're exposed to this one stimulus over here, it influences how you react to the next stimulus that comes your way. So the whole idea is, like, by priming yourself, no matter what comes at you, you're going to have a more positive response without any effort. Like, if you just expose yourself to this stuff without any effort, the next stimulus that comes your way, you're going to react more positively to it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I hope that's the way I live my life, but it's the interest to commitment, though, really being very intentional, as opposed to just sort of passively being that way. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I think that I operate my life that way in terms of trying to make choices, but maybe not with as much effort as I could. And so that's an opportunity to get more bang for your buck.
It makes keeping your commitments easier. I've heard that expression that commitment is like what there is once the motivation, once the feeling is worn off. Like you just do it regardless of how you feel, and there is no room for excuses. And the moment you start entertaining excuses, it's that split second between the time you wake up and the time you put your shoes on. And if you give yourself any daylight in there, like commitments out the window, and you already sent it out the window the moment you started entertaining the excuses. It's not like it just happens. You chose to allow daylight, you know, and not you. I mean, all of us, we all do that.
Yeah.
And so the thing behind commitment is that's Bobby's thing, right? It's all about your why, and you have to get, the other thing that I thought was really interesting about looking at priming is that decision making comes out of passion, whether it's positive or negative, and not really separate from the priming discussion. We think of priming as being positive, but you can prime yourself with a lot of negativity and really like make for a shitty day, right? And lots of us do that regularly, you know, and it's a challenge to turn that around. Anyway, I sort of lost my train of thought, but I know that decision making and the passion piece, it's like that's the why piece, and your commitment is going to get a whole lot easier when you really get honest about why you want something to be. It's like what Ted said about fitness or about quitting smoking. If you don't want to die, your incentive is pretty damn strong and makes a commitment pretty freaking easy, right? To quit smoking. And we don't get real like that about other areas of our life. And I think that's the focus that we're talking about. So yeah. Anyway, that's my.
It may have seemed like I was scurrying. I'm like making notes and writing things as you're sharing them, because it's just like fire of things that resonate, especially regarding like, and I didn't write it down in time, but I love what you wrote, like, or what you shared regarding you let that light in, or what, can you repeat that? Like, as soon as you let the,
I was saying that the moment you let daylight between.
that's right, that is. Yeah.
Putting on your shoes. And that's how I think about it, because for years and years, my alarm went off at 4:40 in the morning, and you get up, you put your stuff on and you put your shoes on, you know, you go make coffee and you brush your teeth and grab your keys and walk out the door. And if there's any daylight between the moment you wake up and getting to your shoes, which are, you know, not far from you, you've already decided in that moment that you let the daylight in. You've decided, you made a choice. It's not just happening. It's not like, oh, the weather sucks. It's like you choose. And I think back on this because I did that for so many years, and I was in the, you know, the idea was to get up at 4:40 and I was in the gym at 5. And when you do that for so many years, it doesn't matter if it's snowing outside or it's raining or it's 98 degrees, you just do it. And then the payoff from doing it reinforces why you wanted to do it in the first place. Does that make sense? And then it's self-fulfilling, but there is it's the opposite of the point of diminishing returns. It's that habit thing where you hit that tipping point where there's no longer willpower involved to create the habit. You're just doing it. And you keep doing it because the payoff is there. Who's that guy, Dr. Phil? Like, how's that working for you? Do you know when people complain about stuff, or they say, I tried to do this, or I did that, and he'd say, how's that working for you? Because there's a payoff, even if it's negative. If you're still lying in your bed and you haven't put your shoes on and you let the daylight in, there's some payoff for you in that you, at the moment, deem more important, more resonant, more, it gives you something that is better to you in your mind, even if it's not empirically or objectively true, than putting your shoes on and getting the benefit of your workout. So
True. I think Nike made $1 trillion off that saying, just do it, right? Like,
because when you distill it all down, when you're done with all the conversation, that's what it comes down to. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So just bloody do it, right? And so whenever it's the opposite of like personal responsibility, when you hear people complaining, and maybe that's why it makes me so crazy, when you hear people complaining, it's the opposite of taking responsibility for that choice at 4:40 in the morning or whatever it is for you, right? And then all the excuses, right? And they're looking for some sympathy or something, and what they're really looking for is a validation of their crappy choice because they feel bad about it. But somebody could make them feel better about it, and then that would make it okay, rather than dealing with the discomfort of, man, I let myself down.
Right.
And now I'm not any further toward my goal. And you know, I say this because it's intellectual, and it's like there's just failings all over my life, so it's not like I even remotely have this down, but the logic is super clear, you know, and I have enough experience with it for it to be emotionally resonant. Like you know in your bones that this is the truth. Even if you don't follow it, you know it's the truth. So I think it's important.
So true. Well, and I think the thing that sort of a bit with respect to this priming thing is we're talking about just do it, right? And that has a lot to do with, I'll say, getting in action, be it emotionally or physically, but a lot to your point in these mindset pieces has been so much different than sort of fake it till you make it, or you know, you visualize it, which we hear and do a lot of, but this is where you're physically forcing your body. We hear a lot about it. Just go to the gym and it has natural, you know, there's all sorts of chemical things that happen. But even if it's not going to the gym, it's sitting in your chair and doing forced breathing, right? Which can feel a little hokey or silly sometimes, but it's like something starts to happen in you, right? Like there's like, even then, just like some tingling starts to happen. There's true physiological things that are happening by that are translating to the emotional state. And I think that's kind of what speaks to so much what you're doing is like, obviously we're looking at what's your why and your congruence. I mean, some people are forcing them to go to the gym and they're miserable doing it. Well, there's other ways in which to get the benefits maybe that you're trying to. So we're not trying to endorse inauthenticity, right? It is getting to your why. And I wrote down commitment engine. I don't know that I've ever really looked at it that way when I hear that book, because I haven't even gone through that program with Bobby. I'll guiltily admit that I haven't, in that she's so passionate about. That's the book that she references, right? The commitment engine. And I know, Ann, you've done a lot of work with her along that, is like even this exercise of doing this in the morning of breathing and I don't want to say necessarily visualizing, but this priming, as they say, how powerful and how impactful in so many facets and areas of our life in ways that I haven't done that. I haven't committed to that. So here today, I'll put that commitment. I am going to do this video for the next 2 weeks every day. Every day. And I'm going to report back on the Thrive call 2 weeks from tomorrow with my findings. So if anyone wants to go on that journey and put that commitment forth, feel free to raise your hand or just silently choose that for yourself. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to put it in my calendar. That's the first thing I know for myself. If I don't put it in my calendar, so every day now my alarm goes off at noon that I'm supposed to meditate for 7 minutes, and I go to my insight timer. And then at 3 o'clock, I have an alarm that goes off that says, stop. And that stands for, it stands for, like take a deep breath, observe, and proceed cautiously. Because I tend to, as Anne put in her notes, and I am going to share with everyone, where is this here? It rings so true. Hold on a second. Your emotional state is the basis of your decision making. Passion, both passion, positive and negative, is where decisions are made. Another future mindset topic. Agreed. How many of you made a stupid decision in a fit of anger?
No.
Everyone. How many of you made extremely generous or extremely brave decision out of a deep sense of love? Right. I hope everyone. So Anne shares here, remember how we ended our talk last week? that in the end, all there really is love. Imagine if you could tap into that, chills, folks, chills in the arms. Imagine if you could tap into that feeling and make decisions from that state all of the time. Imagine how your professional relationships would change. Imagine how your personal relationships would change. Imagine the exponential growth you'd make toward the goals you have for every part of your life. And in moments of decision, the many forks in the road of your life, create your destiny and create the quality of your life. I'll post this little note here, and you can read that too. I'm going to share it with, it's too long again. I'm going to have to break it in 2 parts, which I will. Mindset is like a flow chart. It's math. It's A equals B, B equals C, C equals D, and then A equals D. That is to say, if you, how you prime your physiology determines your destiny, and it determines your quality of life. I am going to share, I love her math here. I say her as though she's not on here, which is sort of funny because I really love this interesting spot that she lets me play of sharing her content, her being Anne, that generated all of this.
That's a generous way to put it.
Not true, it's very truthful.
Ted presents so I don't have a panic attack.
and Anne prepares so that I don't have a panic attack creating the content. So it's a great team. It's really beautiful because I enjoy sharing it. It lands differently for me when sharing, and I want to say teaching that. But so there's a lot there in the chat box, and we're going to wrap up here in just a couple of minutes. But I'm going to post all of this, but you can see kind of the A, B, and C that she outlines here, and how it turns into like a real beautiful math problem.
And I just want to say, this sounds like a lot of stuff, right? And a lot of stuff to remember. I think the part that's so, there are a couple of things, like this stirs so many things. It's like we live in a really sedentary world now, right? But we're originally created as physical organisms, right? And then we slowly get all our intellect over time. And it's like we live in this sedentary world, but we're made to be really physical. We're made to move, and we don't do a lot of that. And then we wonder why life is a little, like unbalanced or whatever. And, I shared with Ted that like I grew up as a competitive swimmer, and I've weightlifted most of my adult life. And there's just this hardcore physicality about it that's always made me feel pretty sane. And it makes me feel really grounded. And I shared this story with Ted that going to the gym for me is like a 12-step program. Like when I'm in the gym, my life works for me and everybody around me. And when I don't go to the gym, it doesn't, and it's not pretty. And I'm in that place right now. So I'm kind of teaching what I need to learn here. But there's this piece about our life, like we're so disconnected from our physicality now. We spend all our time on our screens, and COVID's not helping. We're all on our couches and in our houses a lot. And we kind of need to get back to this physical thing, because that's the way we're made. And we operate, not even remotely surprisingly, at our most optimal when we're physical. Think of all the ways in your life that you're physical, and hardly any of them involve this sucks, or I feel really bad now. Like even if you work in the yard for 4 hours, you feel great. Like, you hurt, but you feel great because you've accomplished something. And we're so disconnected from our physicality now. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Like I've always felt super grounded when I'm in the gym or something like that, because it makes perfect sense. That's how we're made. And so the beauty of this thing is if you just get in your body somehow, and you can see that you can do it by sitting in your chair. If you just get in your body a little bit, everything kind of flows naturally. Like you don't have to do any work. Again, the whole point of priming is you do the priming thing, and then it's kind of autopilot. You just filter the rest of your day, the rest of your life through that good juju feeling that we all just got. And it just happens naturally. So it sounds like a whole lot of whatever, but it's super simple and really easy. As simple as just pushing play on this video every day, which I think is a great idea.
Weeks. All right, any parting thoughts? I know this was a lot today and very maybe alternative to a traditional real estate course, but I, like Anne, believe that this is the core of really sales training, because and Bobby, my mother's, you know, that is where she starts with everyone, is what is your why? There's a great video by Simon Sinek on that, who many of you I'm sure have seen, and that is getting to that. Is forcing myself to do actions that aren't driven by my why is not sustainable and quite miserable. So so thank you for participating in this path with us and being open to this and for yourself and sharing with others. Is there anything else you'd love to share about the experience or parting thoughts before we get off here?
I agree.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I wanted to thank you, because this is a really simple tool, and some variation of this is something I've been aware of, you know, whether it's meditation or whatever. But, you know, when I have what I would call a bad day, it's a day where I feel like I'm reacting, you know, because I have my to-do list and my commitment, and I'm serious about it. But there are deadlines that pop up. It's the Rubik's Cube, you know, the things that pop up that you really don't have any control over, that you are responsible for being engaged in. And so, you know, managing your attitude, I always try and keep a positive attitude, but still at the end of the day, I feel like a hamster, you know, because, oh, today was a reaction day and, you know, so be it. But I think this kind of tool, for me personally, in looking at that kind of situation, could really help. Or, you know, maybe some of the reacting things get done in a shorter amount of time, so you get back on track or something like that. Because that stuff's going to happen, you know. There is a groundhog at the rental crawl space, and you got to go deal with it now. You know, I mean, what my week? Okay, broken AC, 2 groundhogs, blah blah blah. Anyways, you get the picture. You got to deal with that stuff, and you deal with it with a sense of humor. But there's another level past that, and that is this priming thing of still not letting it psychologically take you off track of what you originally thought you were committed to, which was not thinking about groundhogs, but they're really cute.
And the thing about timing is it makes it so it comes naturally. There's no willpower involved.
Yeah,
Do it. It's
exactly.
for you as you encounter your day, rather than willing yourself to be positive, or, do you know what I mean? Which just takes an effort, and it just feels like BS.
It kind of all starts with the whole gratitude piece. Like for me, like I think that's where it all like unlocks this whole thing that becomes just what you have is enough. It makes you feel, you know, like you're so grateful for the things that you have, or that, you know, through that exercise, through the priming, it's like brings back all those, you know, things and emotions and happiness and joy, and you it is very natural, even though it sounds like so much. I mean, when you listen to all of it, it's like, oh, how am I going to do this for 2 weeks? You know, like I was thinking, oh, I'll do it with you, you know, commitment and all that. And it's I meditate pretty much every day, and that to me is just, you know, really making a commitment, you know, because there's the days when you can't and you want to, you know, like the letting the light in, you know, it's just a lot, and you have to just let it go with the flow, feel it, and it'll come, and it'll be natural, and it'll help, and it helps everybody, you know, like all of the things like we're talking about, just making the commitments will come more natural, you know. I don't know how to explain. So it's just for me, this makes, like you said, I know this is the place that you have to be. And swimming is another perfect thing I love to do, is doing 3-4 days a week. And then since COVID, haven't swam. And that was therapeutic for me. So it's really hard not to be in the pool, and it's hard not to move the body, and it's hard to take the dogs for a walk and expect that to be my exercise, you know. It's like walk to the liquor store, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the, you know, it's just different now, you know. I don't know. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, beautiful. Who else? Anyone else? Well, it's in the calendar. I got to add the link, but it says priming 8 o'clock every morning, 8 to 8:20. So that gives me 15 minutes to watch it and another 5 to jot down some thoughts. 2 weeks starts tomorrow, recurring event. I hope and invite you on that journey. And tomorrow it starts Jumpstart, and I will not be leading the Thrive call, but it will still be happening. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to invite the incredible Dorothy Savage Davis, D, as we better know her, to lead that. And so Thrive will still be happening tomorrow at 9. I will be starting Jumpstart at 9 tomorrow as well. I still at 8 will be doing my priming. And we'll see you, personally, I will see you next Wednesday on the Thrive call at 9 a.m. All right. Appreciate love, y'all. Go spread love. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Anne. Much love to you for putting this together. And thank each of you really for being on here today. It's not possible, and power isn't shared if it's not for all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you all. Bye-bye.